Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, March 8th, 2024. Let's go ahead and jump back to yesterday. It's going to be a really quick review because yesterday was a pretty easy day. So not much to really talk about. It was pretty much unidirectional until we got up to the high of the day there. So lots of good opportunity here. Let's go ahead and pull this back. So market open, and if you remember in our pre-market yesterday, we talked about how we had a whole bunch of really good bullish signals from the lows. The market was getting a really strong push coming into the pre-market. We were testing into the previous daily high, which happened to be also one of our other roadmap levels, one of our swing levels. And we were testing in just before the open and breaking out through that high. So we were expecting the market to attempt to continue to push higher. We had a target up to the upside here at 51.68 quarter. And I told you that if you get long, you're probably going to want to take some profit either just in front here or right around that area. And let's take a look at what happened here. So market went ahead and pulled back and got a bounce nearly to the tick off the previous daily high, which was, again, our swing level there at 34.5. Again, maybe a 2 or 3 tick break. And then we got this beautiful push higher. Beautiful opportunity to buy off the 200 as the market was attempting to break back out to test the morning high. And again, super aggressive and decent opportunities all the way up. Now, we did get a flush through the 200 at one point here, but eventually they recovered. And there you have it, the high of the day right into 68.5. Now, it wasn't to the tick, but for all intents and purposes, we nailed, that was our target to the upside, and we nailed the high of the day. And that was it. They tried to, and we see this happen. I mean, this is almost every day I feel like I'm talking about this setup for you guys. We got a major high in the market. Bears pulled it back a little bit, got a decent retracement of that morning leg. In fact, if you look at the regular trading hour push from the low of the morning, right by our first roadmap level, all the way up to that high, well, what do you know? It was a to the tick 50% retrace, very healthy, very normal type of price action for the bounce to come back up. And then the expectation would have been for a retest of that high and a breakout, being that we got a really nice, let's go ahead and draw it out, really nice bullish push out, 50% retrace, and then the push higher. Unfortunately, what happened, and this is what we talk about pretty often, is they fell just in front of the major high of the day. We got price starting to break lower. We got our crossover. We got price breaking back down through VWAP, right? So everything was looking like it was one of those, what do we call it? I don't think there's really a term for this one. It wasn't a peak above, but basically a failure just in front of the major high and then the break lower. Unfortunately, when the price came back to test into the 200 here right at the end of the day, we didn't quite get one of those beautiful rotations off of it. But still one of those textbook failures just in front of a major high, getting the price pulling back and the crossover there to finish the day out. And that's basically it. So in my opinion, the last hour, 2 hours of the market may be a little bit tricky in there. And then we did have an hour or two here where the market did go sideways, which might have been a little bit of trouble for you. But if you would have just bought the first expected support of the day, again, with that bullish expectation that was our bias coming into the open, assuming we didn't break below some of the key levels down below us here, if you just would have bought the first support with a bullish divergence on the 512 here off of that test, you would have caught the low of the day, and then you would have had your major target to the upside here at 68, and you should have been able to grab it. So that would have been the best thing you could have done yesterday. And then again, we did get this failure just in front of the major high of the day, and then the pullback to test into the VWAP there. So that's how yesterday went. That brought us here, and let's bring this forward here, into the overnight session, where they once again tried to come back up and break through that 68.5 extension level we had and push higher, and then they got the pullback and even came back up to test it to the tick there as price pulled back last night. And then here is the drop of non-farm payroll at an hour before the open. It depends on where you are in the nation or in across the world. But 1 hour before the open here this morning, we get our non-farm payroll and get this huge spike up to push to a new all-time high in the last couple of minutes. And as you can see, we're getting continued follow through up through the highs of yesterday, up through that extension level that we failed off of yesterday, and kind of playing up in this new area of the chart. So that brings us here to our pre-market for this morning. We'll go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames and see what they have to say. Now, when I did my report this morning, I wrote up my report before the news drop, and typically that is not a good idea, but what can I do? I mean, we're getting close to the broadcast. I have to have my report ready. And what do you know what happens? We get this major spike out. So if we go, let me pull up the report here. If we go to the synopsis for our signals up at the top here, you'll see that we had a potential bearish signal from the high of yesterday, or from the overnight high when we peaked up into that 68 quarter extension level. And then we have a closed official 4-hour bearish signal up from that overnight high as well. And we even have an hourly bearish signal up there. So before the news hit, we were pulling back right here, and we had a daily potential bearish signal from that high. We had the 4-hour bearish signal. We had the hourly bearish signal. So in the report, I said the question's going to be this morning, like it is nearly every morning for the last couple of weeks. How far were the bears really going to be able to pull this back before the bulls jump right back in? And sure enough, the news hit, and now they popped it right back up. So we still do have a little bit of potential bearishness up off these new all-time highs. But obviously, if we can't even get down through VWAP for starters, or from the previous daily close, or 50% of yesterday down here at 51.28, then, you know, for all intents and purposes, we're still inside of a really strong bullish trend right now. So that's where we're at. Obviously, short time frames, you could catch a bearish setup and catch 10, 15, 20, 30 points to the downside. But from the higher time frame perspective, if they can't even get through 50% of yesterday's price action, well, you know, we're still technically in this strong bullish market right now. So let's go up to the higher time frame.